So warm welcome from Safety Products, everybody. I think everybody that's currently on this call may be familiar with us. We're an occupational safety and health distributor out of the Southeast United States. My name is Jody Ciccarello. I'm the marketing manager for Safety Products. And we're very blessed to be able to partner with our friends at Protective Industrial Products to bring the safety information to you today. So thank you for choosing to join us to discuss the alternative solutions for disposable glove use. This is certainly a trending safety topic that's affecting our industry and our organization's safety budgets. So it's only fitting that we stay ahead of the curve and bring those alternatives to the surface now. Everyone's currently in mute, but please note at the end of this presentation, we will open the floor for questions and discussions. You'll be able to unmute yourself at that time. If you want to jot anything down for questions or comments in the meeting chat during the presentation, feel free to do so, and we'll grab those at the end. I am also recording this presentation for future use. So with that, let me hand this presentation over to my friend John Britt. He's a regional sales manager for Protective Industrial Products and a seasoned safety veteran. And I'm so glad you are here, John, to bring this conversation to us. I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you, and I will mute myself.
All right, very good. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate it. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Before you go too far away there, we'll make sure you can see everything. I'm going to go into presentation mode here. And if you just give me the verification, Jody, that you could see that, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, looks good.
Okay, great. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate you joining us today to discuss some of the potential alternatives, disposable gloves. As Jody said, we're all living in this, the new normal, if you will. The COVID situation has certainly affected the PPE world, especially on a lot of the disposable type of PPE products. So wanted to bring you this today to get you thinking about, maybe some alternatives that you haven't thought about before to disposable gloves. They've been a lot harder to come by here. Pricing has been very volatile on that. And just want to take you through some of this and give you some ideas of maybe some alternate solutions for you. So here I will get this started. And so the agenda today is going to be, just do a high level overview of some of the disposable glove challenges and kind of why, other than, just strictly COVID, why we're facing some of this. Talk a little bit about, are the disposable gloves the right choice in the first place? Sometimes they might be, sometimes they're not. We will then go in and start to review some potential alternatives that you can consider. We've got a couple really good real-time case studies that we've done and we've worked with end users on, and we'll review those and what transpired there and what type of cost savings they saw by going to reusable type of gloves. We'll talk a little bit about some of the available resources that we have to you, through PIP, and then at the end, like Jody said, we'll open it up to some questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So, this global pandemic that we've been in for, a good portion of this year has really challenged us in the personal protective equipment space here. It's obviously, it's contributed to a global shortage of disposable PPE. We talk about disposable suits, we talk about disposable respirators, and absolutely has affected the disposable glove availability. It's also caused major volatility in pricing. We've seen some unprecedented changes in pricing since the beginning of the year. And right now, unfortunately, there's not a lot of end in sight for that. So for us as PIP, what it did is quickly, when we started to see what was transpiring in the market, it drove us to identify viable alternatives to offer our customers, whether it's our distributor partners like Safety Products or their end user customers, which are some of you folks today. So just to give you some high level market dynamics, obviously, the supply and demand is what's driving this in a lot of ways. So the global demand for disposable gloves is far exceeding the global manufacturing capacity. That's combined capacity about all the players in the market. So it's estimated in some of the studies that only around 25% of the global demand is able to be fulfilled. So when you think about that, you got 75% of the global market needs to look at potential alternatives or not have protection, which is really not a choice. So to get into some of the specific manufacturing challenges, when you think about a lot of these products, being manufactured overseas, some of those countries were some of the first to be affected by the COVID-19 situation. So many of their factories were not running at full capacity. So there was already some reduced output from the onset of this. Now, as we're into this, 6-7 months into this, we've got some major raw material shortages. NBR, which is nitrile butadiene rubber, which is used in the nitrile glove manufacturing. The shortages of that raw material is expected to continue into 2021. Butadiene, it's a raw material used in the gloves, but it's also used in products like automobile tires, belts, hoses, gaskets. So it has a lot of industrial uses besides just our glove usage. So if you think about the glove manufacturers, in their production, this is just real world. They are focusing on, and probably rightly so, right? They're focusing on the medical and exam grade products for healthcare applications before thinking about the industrial grade products. And they are absolutely focusing on core medical sizes first, with medium being the most common size in the medical market. And they're limiting allocation and orders of small, large, and extra large in a lot of cases. When you talk about needing extra small or 2X type disposable gloves, that's not even in a lot of the conversations right now. So these factories, they're in business to make money too, and also to supply the world products on there. But so they're looking to maximize their yield. So you've got a lot of factories right now that won't consider doing any of the thicker mill products. They're really focusing on thinner mill products like the 3 and 4 mil thickness products, and not really considering making 5 mil, 6 mil, 8 mil, and so on. Just to kind of give you a point of reference on there, PIP, we've got partners we've dealt with for a long time in Asia. We've got orders in place with our suppliers well into 2022 at this point. So certainly unprecedented times that we're dealing with. So I want to kind of give you some idea of what all the factors were first. So let's kind of get into it. So the first question out there, are the disposable gloves the right choice in the first place? We at PIP, in conjunction with our distributor partners, we do a lot of on-site audits and that. And a lot of times, maybe disposable glove is the right choice, but I'll tell you, more times than not, it's probably not the right choice to start with. So this kind of lends itself to, let's review the limitations of some of the disposable gloves. They're obviously designed for single use only, or single limited use, if you will. They're not meant to be reused. I see them a lot of times used in chemical resistant application, and whereas they're okay for splash resistance for chemical or incidental touch, they're not intended for immersion. And we see folks out there sometimes using these as a true chemical glove instead of for splash. They offer no breathability, making them uncomfortable to wear for long periods of time. Most of you on this call have worn disposable gloves in some form or fashion. What happens? It causes your hand to sweat. So you'll take the glove off, at a break time, or you'll take it off at lunchtime. That's why you go through so many pair throughout the day. Disposable gloves cannot be laundered or reused. So that's another factor and limitation. For the end user, they require a higher amount of on-hand inventory. So you've got to have boxes and cases, if you will, of product available for your workers. And then you've got, last but not least, the disposal considerations. If you're going through, thousands and thousands of disposable gloves, you've got disposable considerations to take into consideration. So let's get into it. Let's explore some possible alternatives. And to do that, we really need to think about, what is your application or use of the disposable glove? Are you using it for wet applications, just to keep someone's hands dry so it doesn't come through a, coated glove that has breathability? Are you using it for chemical protection? Are you using it for food contact? Are you using it sometimes as an extra barrier under a work glove? Are you using it in the workplace for dirt, grime, light oils, and grease in industrial construction or commercial? Or is it, in this new normal that we're in, is it a barrier against contact with shared surfaces? And it could be any of those or multiple. So if you are doing one of those type of tasks out there, here are some of the alternatives that you could potentially explore as an alternative. So if it's for wet or liquid protection, there are fully coated dipped knit gloves or unsupported gloves like your nitrile that you see there, the green one, or latex. Those are possibilities for liquid protection. If it's for true chemical protection other than splash or incidental contact, unsupported or supported nitrile, latex, PVC, neoprene, butyl may be the choice. Really need to know what that chemical is, how long it's being handled for, so we can help them selecting the right glove. If it's food handling applications, there are other gloves out there besides disposables that are in compliance with 21 CFR 177-2600 for certain food applications. Again, it may be an unsupported nitrile glove. It may be a seamless coated glove that meets the 21 CFR regulations. If someone's doing pre or post, production handling of it. Maybe they're handling cases of fruit or vegetables after the fact and not through the production processing. You could possibly use these type of gloves. If it's an extra barrier under work gloves, the first question I'm going to ask on that is it really necessary? Because if we think about if I'm wearing a pair of disposable gloves underneath another glove, my hand is underneath there and it's going to sweat. All right. So what is the reason that we're double gloving in there? Is it because we have liquid on there? So then we've got to come with a combination glove that's going to solve two problems there. If you're wearing a glove underneath there because you really ultimately need to absorb sweat, then you can look at some of the inspector type gloves or the Lyle gloves that are shown there as possible undergloves on there. Just remember, if you're wearing more than one glove, if you're double gloving out there, you're going to lose dexterity, you're going to lose tactile sensitivity in most cases. So what we want to focus on here today is mainly, hand protection for workplace barriers. So that's really where these seamless coated knit gloves come into play. So these are gloves that are going to be some type of liner with a coating on there, be it nitrile, be it latex, be it PVC. So these are going to be form-fitting. They're going to be breathable. Whether some of it's breathable on the back, some of it's breathable on the back and front both. These are absolutely going to be reusable in a lot of applications, and they're going to provide, better grip than a disposable glove. They can also offer better mechanical protection when it comes into things like abrasion and cut resistance. So depending on what the liner is, you may get some higher cut resistance there. And then the coatings on there, and we got different coatings that offer different levels of abrasion resistance to make the glove last longer. The coating is going to protect direct skin contact on surfaces, no different than a disposable would. And in these cases here, in certain situations, they can be laundered to be reused. So again, got a lot of choices here and a lot of different price points. So we could start with the premium performance. If you're familiar with our MaxiFlex glove, still one of the #1 selling gloves in North America. That's a premium product out there that offers superior abrasion resistance, 360-degree breathability out there. It's not an inexpensive glove, but in the right situation, and we'll cover it in one of the case studies here, it could be a good option for you as well. There's affordable nitrile coatings on there for dry grip and oil resistance. So we've got different price levels of gloves there. We got gloves with our neofoam coating on there. It's kind of proprietary to PIP. These are going to be good for general duty applications. These are also touchscreen compatible gloves. Then you get to the polyurethane coating. So these are going to be probably some of the lowest cost per use and absolutely a lot more durable than disposable gloves. We've got cut resistant ones with polyurethane coating, a lot of general purpose ones with polyurethane coating. Our second case study today is actually going to be about the 33G 115 glove. So this information is going to be provided to you. It's part of our PIP Essentials program. I know Jody's going to post it up on the Safety Connect site after tomorrow's second session, and it's also available, as I'll show you later, on the PIP website. So let's get into case studies, because I think these are really going to be kind of eye-opening for you of what the cost savings could be for a couple of companies that have moved away from disposable to coated gloves. And we're going to kind of go through the spectrum here. We're going to show our premium 34874 MaxiFlex that one of the customers decided to use. Suggested list price on this glove here is in the $4 range. Okay, so it's not an inexpensive glove, but there was still a tremendous amount of savings to be had. And then our second case study, we're going to look into the value 33G 115 glove as part of our G-Tech line. So that one's going to be, price point, just under $1 a pair. Suggested list price on there. So it'll give you kind of a couple different alternatives to take a look at. So in our premium 34874 case study in cost savings, this was one that one of my colleagues worked with, a national telecommunications company. These folks had over 1,000 field technicians. This is their information to us, as we help kind of determine what glove to go with. They said they were using around 2.8 million pairs of disposable gloves annually. So they had a lot of spend in disposable gloves. So what we did is we worked with them on a needs analysis, find out what was really important to them, found out that it was, grip was important to them, dexterity, tactile sensitivity to comfort, because they complained about how hot it was to wear disposable gloves. They were going through a lot of gloves because of that as well. So ultimately it was decided that they were going to field test our MaxiFlex 34874 with 78 of their techs over 3 locations. This test was supposed to be for 30 days to come back with the results and then make a determination at that time. What I can tell you though is after 2 weeks, the feedback from the techs that were using this glove was just talked about remarkable and comfort, dexterity, protection, and a lot of user acceptance. Obviously when the user accepts the glove that you're giving them there, you can get a lot more usage out of it as well. So what their experiences is one pair, because they're not in a real dirty environment, but they're getting a one pair of gloves that lasts the tech about a week. So with that said, the initial cost savings for them was over 76%. And this was back in the early stages of the COVID pandemic. So when you look at the rising cost of disposable, this price on here of $700K is probably closer to $900 to $1 million of potential spend. With the reusable product using one pair per week per tech, they're down around $162,000 of cost there. So they even said that they may consider laundering as an option. They hadn't moved to that yet, but they're pretty happy with the savings here. And again, when you look at going to a premium glove and still realizing that type of savings, it's just really about finding the right glove for your application. And once we do that, again, we've got some tools that we can show you to calculate what the savings could be for you. Let's switch over to our value glove scenario here. That was for our 33G 115 case study in cost savings. This was a national distribution center, if you will. It was for their returns processing. So this is return garments, if you will, that may have been used or worn prior. So they were certainly concerned about any type of contact with virus if it was to live on the fabric. So this was the second one. We had 3,000 workers, a lot of folks out there. Their estimated usage was around 4.3 million pairs of disposable gloves annually. That's a really big number. Same thing, did the needs analysis, sat down with them, found out what was important to them, and ultimately it was suggested that they go with one of the more economical products, which was our 33G 115. They did field testing with that with 200 employees in 2 locations. Again, employee feedback was that the reusable seamless coated knit gloves offered improvement in comfort, dexterity, protection, and again, realized some good user acceptance. Now they're doing a daily change out of that. That's one of the reasons they went with the more economical glove. But even with a daily change out, they still saw a 33% initial cost savings realized. Okay. If laundering was implemented, which they were going to consider that as well, then they could be looking at upwards of 90% potential. And remember, this is fluid. As the price of disposables continues to rise, and right now there's no end in sight that we can see that disposables are going to go down anytime soon. It makes that savings on these scenarios even more so. Okay. So what we challenge you to think about, if this is something that's appealing to you and you would like us to get involved with your organization and take a look, and we kind of do the dare to compare. So we can plug in with your numbers, sit down with you, do the needs analysis with you, find the right type of glove. If you're using disposables today, determine which glove might be the best choice for you, talk about the cost of use, the benefits of use. We have PIP cost of use calculators that we can put into play here that'll actually tell us, use based off your information of how many boxes of disposables you use per week, what's the average price per box that you're paying, the number of employees using it, how many change outs you're experiencing today, how many days a week are they working or how many shifts. Then we can look into what the recommended reusable glove to try is, what the price per pair is for that glove, and then how long we anticipate that'll last. And that'll give you an estimate of what your potential cost savings could be. If you're going to go into laundering gloves, that's going to offer some additional savings there. It may or may not to be the right choice for you, but it may be something you want to consider is laundering of the gloves as well. If you do that, there's going to be additional percentage of savings when you start to do glove laundering. Okay. So let's talk about that. Kind of leads us into the next thing there. So glove laundering is probably not something we really thought about a whole heck of a lot before this global pandemic. But now, because we're looking to see, how we can reduce costs out there, we've got more and more customers at least willing to consider, glove laundering out there. It's not complicated in the standpoint that you got some different options out there. There's third-party services that can launder gloves for you. We've got some companies looking to kind of centralize it and do their own in-house laundering, depending on what the application is. We got a lot of folks out there that are issuing their employees multiple pairs. You see that little picture on the right-hand side here. You've got people actually washing the gloves just like they would wash their hands. And what they've done is offer them a couple pair for change out, maybe 2-3 pair. They launder them as needed with soap and water or whatever they need to. All the laundering instructions will be on the spec sheets for the gloves. And then they hang them up to dry. They use another pair. And when these are dry, they go back and use the glove again. So in those cases there, it's pretty simple concept. Obviously, there's some considerations there as well. If they're soiled with harmful contaminants, you may or may not want to look at laundering there. Or if you do that, you may definitely want to outsource that. And there's obviously, we talked about the need to buy multiple pairs for daily rotation. Okay. So next thing I talk about is just kind of the gloves and the new way of thinking. Now remember, gloves are going to help us, right? But they're not a magical barrier against transmission, even in the situation we are with COVID. So I don't care if it's a medical grade glove, if it's an industrial grade glove, if it's a seamless coated glove there, they're not a magical barrier. They're things we have to do to continue to protect ourselves. They will prevent direct contact with shared surfaces. That's what they're intended to do. And they can certainly protect our hands from injury. But when you look at glove effectiveness, you got to kind of rethink this a little bit. Strict hand hygiene practices that must be relearned. And I'm going to say relearned because what have we all been dealing with here? How many people were not washing their own hands for 30 seconds or more, like some of the CDC recommendations are, okay? No contact with mouth, nose, eyes if you're wearing type of gloves. How many times do you see somebody wearing a disposable glove and say, well, I'm wearing that to protect my hands from possible transmission of this virus? And then what are they doing with that glove? They're sitting there talking on their phone. So if they've got contamination on that glove, they now just transfer it to their phone, which is going to transfer it to their mouth, their face, going nose or eyes there. So definitely need to kind of rethink the way we're doing things. Proper donning and doffing, so that if you do have contamination on there, how to get that glove off properly or how to put that glove off properly. And then we've definitely got to think about, proper disposal or laundering of the gloves that maybe we didn't consider before. Okay. So from a resource standpoint, remember PIP is also we are a manufacturer. So we have manufacturing facilities ourselves. We've got distribution warehouses. So first and foremost, when we looked at this global pandemic, we had to protect our people first as well, right? So we have our people, our safety teams out there looking to develop best practices for our own manufacturing and distribution. And that was kind of the basis behind coming up with our Essentials Safety Book. So this is kind of, some of the best practices to assist in minimizing the risk in the new environment. And we've made this available through our website. I know Jody's going to post it on the Safety Connect site. It is a guide that any one of our customers could use. So you're welcome to take a look at it. You can compare it to your current program if you have one. If you don't have a program in place, maybe you can pick up some ideas from our Essentials Safety Book as well. We also published then a PIP Essentials product guide. So some of the things that we talked about today and some of these seamless coated products out there. So this will assist in product selection and offers alternatives to hand protection. So these are all things that are available to you through our website and also through Safety Products. With that, run through that, and I'd like to then open it up for any questions on the materials or anything specific to your operation. Okay, Jody, if you want to unmute folks.
Yep, and I think specifically Candace Boulevard had a question during the process here, so let me get back in here and see if I can unmute everyone. I think you can unmute yourself, actually. I'm going to try to unmute everyone. I don't think it's going to let me unmute everyone at one time. So if you have a question, I know, Candace, you did have a question. If you'd like to go ahead and jump in, you certainly can.
I think I typed something incorrectly. I'm sorry. I don't have a question right now. Thank you.
Oh, okay. John, I think you're on mute again.
Okay, better.
Okay.
All right. No worries on there. So, any questions for us on this? Hopefully, some of this may hit home for you. It might at least get you thinking about, if you're using disposable gloves and you're having a problem getting them, like most people are, take a look at this and let us know if there's something you see that we can help you with. That's what this is all about, is just to be really informational there. It's not a sales pitch out there by any means, but we can certainly help you with solutions if you need that.
We do have another question from Robert Meth. It says, the food production industry is really feeling the pinch with the dramatic cost increases and lower availability of single-use nitrile. What is the best PIP option that fits under the FDA 21 CFR 177-2600?
Yeah, so depending on what the actual food application is, it may be, and we would have to look at this, as a one-off, but it may be unsupported nitrile if we can't get on there. There has been some availability on the vinyl side that can be used in certain food applications as well, but we may be looking at unsupported nitrile as an option for you. But we can certainly take a look at that closer to understand more about your specific operation, and then we can really hone in on a solution for you.
Thank you, John. Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Okay. Well, John, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing this. I mean, it was pretty eye-opening, some of the statistics on what's going on with this in our industry. And I will, as John mentioned, share with everybody after the tomorrow afternoon when we do this presentation again. We'll put this on the Safety Connect website. But as you have registered, I will also send you these resources that John has mentioned throughout the presentation, and also the full Dare to Compare analysis that they've done on two different organizations with two different gloves, and so you can see some more in full details on that. So hoping to reduce some costs and save some injuries and get things back and going again and get out of this hole with this disposable situation in the meantime. Okay, well, John, thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks everybody for attending, and look for an email to come from us, and we'll have some more resources for you.
Okay, thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.